it for me.
Hi, my name is Mayad Alos. I'm an architectural urban sketcher. I'm going to focus today on how to create a bit of depth on a very flat drawing. You've probably all had the same problem. You draw a drawing and it looks really flat. So very simply, with simple gray shadows, we're going to create depth to a flat sash window. So I've got two windows here. This one I'm going to leave alone and do nothing with it. So as you can see, it looks very, very simple, very flat, despite that I've created a molding on it. And this one I'm going to add some shadows to it. I've not been really precise with the dimensions. This is literally for demonstration purposes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, I'm going to add a gray, and I'm using oxide black. You can Daniel Smith oxide black. You can use any black and you can thin it down and it will look like gray. I'm using an 8 here, which is a Zaytang, Z-Y-T-A-N-G brush. So I'm going to start with, always keep, by the way, when you're working with watercolor, always keep a little kitchen paper handy. Take off the excess water. So I'm going to start by adding shadows as if the sunlight is coming from the right. So wherever you have an object that has got any depth to it, is going to create shadow which is going to be to the left of the object. So I'm just creating in here a bit of gray shadows to the left hand side of my object. And what we're going to do is, if the object is thick, we're going to give it a deeper shadow than a thin object. So at the moment I'm literally going around the frame of the window, which is the thicker part of the window, and then we will do the glazing bars. These are the glazing bars. And these are just for your own information, they're called glazing bars because they are used to hold the glass. So the glass is set inside them. That's a typical detail of a sash window. So the deeper objects, they create deeper shadows, and the thinner objects, they create thinner shadows. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you now. So this is the shadow onto the glass. So these are the frame throwing a shadow onto the glass. But because these glazing bars protrude closer, they are closer to the eye than the glass, the shadow is a little bit thinner than the shadow onto the glass. Yeah. And then we do a thinner shadow, and that goes under the glazing bars, and they're thinner because the glazing bars themselves are thinner. And it's quite handy with this brush. As you can see, I'm using the narrow tip. It's quite thin. Okay, so, and again, these glazing bars, they tend to cross. So I'm crossing them here a little bit and creating that. Same again, now we've got a deeper object, which is the windowsill. And therefore that is going to be deeper. So we're creating, and I'm trying to do most of my shadows at an angle. And the angle varies. It depends on the time of day and the strength of sunlight. But if you take a 45-degree angle, then that is good enough for the demonstration. And it doesn't have to be 45, and you don't need to worry about what 45 degree is. Just use an angle of your choice. The sun, as it is further into the afternoon, the sun tends to be more of an angle than during the midday. Now that we've missed this, look. Okay, so, and there's one there as well. So we've missed these. Now we've created some depth for the glazing bars and the frame. And oh, this frame overlaps the one above it. So that tends to have shadows as well. So there is a shadow underneath it. Then there is another shadow, which is the molding that goes around the window and the depth of the window. So we're going to suggest that this molding is protruding and the window is set back. So we're going to create, and I'm going to go over my old shadows, and now that you've seen what it looks like without the frame, now we're going to go and suggest that the frame is quite a thick frame. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to create a very thick shadow. You can see I've got a lot of water in my brush here because that's going to be quite a thick shadow there. And where the shadow hits the window frame, it is less than where it hits the glass, because the window frame sits proud. I think that's the right word. That's the word I was looking for. It sits proud of the glass, and the glazing bars are proud, but not as proud as the window frame. Yeah. So we're gonna do this, and I'm just using really very simple, very inexpensive paper. It's not even watercolor paper, it's just this normal cartridge 150 GSM paper for this, because it doesn't need to be amazing paper, because I'm only using one color with no washes. And so then we will do, and then you see we come back to the frame, and as we said, the frame sits proud of the glass, so therefore the frame is going to have less shadow on it than the glass. A bit more paint. And the glazing bars are not as deep, or it's not as proud, sorry, as the frame. And then when we come down to the bottom frame of the window, we go back again, and then the last bit of shadow is this frame around the window has depth to it. So we're going to now add, again, same 45 degree, and we're suggesting that that is the depth of the window. You can make that as deep or as shallow as you want, but it's just to create that extra depth by suggesting that the frame sits proud of the wall. And this is how you create a depth to windows, to sash windows, with very, very simple technique of using shadows. So you can now see a big difference between this window and that window by simply adding very simple shadows to any object that is sitting proud of the glass. I hope you enjoyed the demo, and if you have, please subscribe to my channel and check me out on Instagram, Mayad Alos Art. Thank you.